Okay, so once again, there will be spoiler for all of the Danganronpa games, so please stop the video right now if you don't want to hear about such spoilers. It's not just spoilers for V3, it's spoilers for the whole franchise. So stop it now if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, so V3 has a terrible ending in my opinion. In my opinion, all of the Danganronpa games have had such weak endings. I always like the cases in the middle of the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, but I always hate the final cases. I like solving logical puzzles, finding the culprit and such, but I always hate the last case of the game where you have to take down Monokuma or Junko, and because those cases are so different, and not like the other cases in the game where you actually have someone who got killed and you have to find the killer and the culprit and stuff. Like it's not like that at all. So I hate them. So for Danganronpa 1 and 2, I was definitely disappointed by the final cases of the games. I loved the first game's ending, though, which revealed that the Earth was pretty much just like wiped out. It was like an apocalypse because of a few bad groups of people, and they reveal that there's barely any people left, and they have to somehow survive in this post-apocalyptic world. But I hated the second game's ending because that game's ending revealed that the characters were just a simulation, which kind of just shat on everything that you've been playing for. These games are pretty long. Like, it may take 40 to 50 hours just to beat one of the games, each one of them. And for everything just to be revealed to be a simulation. I mean, it just kind of pisses you off a little bit. If you ever played Star Ocean, Star Ocean 3 did a similar thing, and everyone just hated the whole franchise because of that. So there's actually a spin-off game that's pretty decent, and there's an anime that takes place after the second game, and it concludes the series normally, and it does it in a okay manner. I mean, the ending is not spectacular, but it does the job. But then after that anime ended the series, V3 came out, and everything got kind of shitty. The ending of V3 somehow manages to just shit on the entire series as a whole. I know it's going to be a little bit controversial because I know that a lot of people won't agree with me, but I feel like that though. So if you don't know what happened and you're not familiar with the ending or even the games, the ending of Danganronpa V3 revealed that everything in the previous games were just works of fiction. If that wasn't enough, they revealed that everything in the game of V3 itself was a work of fiction, which was being watched by fictional characters in the game. So it's like, you have fictional characters who are cheering on the antagonists and the protagonists of the actual game, It's weird. It's like everyone's just watching a show and that's the game that you're playing. But I didn't feel like it wasn't just that. I felt like the game went out of its way to bash the players and the fans of the franchise. See, what happens is, they reveal that V3 is a work of fiction being watched by fictional characters, and, these fictional characters who are watching the game, they're fans of the characters, or maybe they want to watch how the characters get killed, they want to watch the characters have romance. These fictional characters who are watching the game that is being played, they're like us in a way. So when the developers are making fun of them, because look at them, oh, look at these people, look, they want to watch these characters get killed, they want to watch them kill other people, they want to watch them, like, suffer and stuff. Like, when they're making fun of those people, they're actually kind of making fun of fans of the franchise, because fans of the franchise on forums and stuff, and even other videos online, this is how they talk. There's always a lot of people who like to speculate about the games before they come out. Sometimes people like to just do reviews of the games afterwards. And when you're making fun of like fictional characters who are watching the fictional game, it's almost like you're making fun of us. The game will also keep saying things like, "Oh, we have to keep making these games for the people," and they pretend that it's a fictional company making these games, and they have no choice but to make the games, otherwise they'll lose money. But that kind of hits close to home. That kind of feels like real life. Yeah, and they're criticizing them so much. So the game's name is Danganronpa V3, and it is revealed at the end of the game that V3 stands for 53, because it's actually the 53rd season of the video game or the TV show that all of the fictional characters are watching. And they keep saying that, oh, we had no choice but to make so many of them because it's what the people want. We have no choice. We need to make the money. That's all people want. And again, they're of course referring to the fictional fans of the fictional games. But when you hear them say this, you can't help but feel that the developers are referring to you, the real life players of the game. The ending to me, because of the way they handle it, it really felt like the developers were screaming at the top of their lungs, we don't want to make these games. Like, it's the only thing that keeps us financially afloat, but we don't want to keep making them. Please stop it. Please stop. We want to do something new and exciting. Like, stop doing this. We don't want to do it anymore. That's what I hear them screaming to me when I was finishing the ending of the game. It really felt to me like they were giving the audience and all of the fans and newcomers to the series and diehard fans, like, it's like they're giving them the middle finger. They didn't just make a spin-off game fictional and do this. No, it wasn't like something experimental. They say that in this game that all of the other entries in the franchise, like all of the other games, all of the anime, all of that, they say that, oh, it's fiction and the fiction and the fiction and the fiction, and I'm just like face palming going, what the hell did these people think they were doing? Like, this game's ending didn't just, like, make a bad ending for this game itself. It manages to retroactively shit on all of the previous games. If you play this game for the first time blindly, and you're not reading any forums, so you're not seeing any spoilers and such, you're playing it blindly and you're having such a good time, all of the other games, they don't really foreshadow the ending of they foreshadow it a little bit, but, like, not too much, because there are hints that, they don't pop it out of nowhere that, oh, the whole thing is fiction. Like, there are references in the beginning of V3 that kind of do show that, oh, there is something weird going on. Not in the previous games, but in this game they do kind of foreshadow it. But if you're playing it blindly, you're just, you just can't help but see that they're making fun of the fans and stuff, and it's like, why do they make such a crazy plot point when that's so ambiguous that actually makes not just myself, but a lot of other fans of the franchise feel like this? You just can't help in the end but think that they're making fun of their own audience, which is actually a really terrible practice to do. You know what I mean? Like not in this game, but in other games, for example, if you're making like an anime JRPG kind of game, you don't want to make fun of people who like this kind of stuff. I mean, you don't want to like make fun. Oh, look at this guy. He buys the merchandise for the game. Like, that's actually going to mess up your sales. Like, that's a lot of people are going to get pissed off with you and just stop buying the games and the action figures. You don't want to criticize your fans. So V3, because the anime ended the series and the franchise and stuff, I felt like V3, by just coming out, it opened a whole can of worms with the ending. Maybe it's not supposed to be taken so seriously, but this ending makes the whole franchise look bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, it took guts for the developers to do what they chose to do, and I will admit that it was fun to watch the fictional characters fight for their rights and fight against like the real life people. They want to fight against the people who are just using them for entertainment. They just want to quit like doing all of that stuff. They feel shitty that they're just pawns of some bigger game. And I feel like that's a gutsy move, but that was actually pretty interesting. But because of how they handle some aspects of it, I just couldn't help but feel insulted by the ending. Maybe some of it was caused by a bad translation as well, because this game was translated from Japanese to English. Maybe something got lost in it. There are reports now that the developers of the games, they're going to conferences and doing interviews with people, journalists, and they're saying that their intentions was not to insult the player at all, and in fact they might even be planning more games in the future for this franchise. To that I say, you honestly left a lot of your fan base so confused, because a lot of the people playing this actually thought that this was like the game's ending, like, and that's going to be it for the whole franchise, because of the message that you were sending. Like, even though you're just talking about fictional people, like, people actually felt hurt by that in real life. I will say that out of all of the games I've been playing, I'm not like an old person, but I've been playing like maybe since like the Mega Drive and maybe like the PS1 kind of era, since the late 80s and 90s. I've seen that it's probably the most unconventional video game ending I've ever seen. I've never really seen developers take such a risk that would not just risk like wrecking the game, but an entire franchise of games as well. And you have to remember that this isn't just any franchise for these developers. This is actually one of their biggest like franchises. Like, they don't have much else to stand up on. They're not a big game developer. They don't have like 10 different IPs. This is actually one of their main IPs. And for them to take such a big risk, wow, it's pretty crazy. I do think that the ending is definitely worth a playthrough on its own because it's pretty amazing in itself. I mean, I thought that, like, I wasn't a fan of the second game's ending because, it's a simulation. But, I've seen video games and movies done that before, but this ending, it's like, it just takes it on a new level. It's like, people are making memes all over the place. Like, don't get me wrong, I mean, you handled the ending well. It's not like you were rushing for time or anything. No, no, no. You made this because they had choice. It's not like NGE or like some anime where they actually had to quickly rush it and they ended up making a half-assed plot. No, they planned to do this from the beginning. So it is, I will give them props for like having the guts to have such a crazy ending. But I'll just say one last thing. In the end, V3's ending just didn't sit well with me. I know that your opinion might be different, and I respect that as well, because there's just so many different ways to interpret the ending. And I know that, they weren't clearly trying to insult the actual fan base of the game, but when you make analogies like that, like, when you make the video game look like a real life, like, oh, make a video game where there's a bunch of fans watching the game that you're playing, you just can't help but feel like it's you and they're insulting you in a way. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I'll just say I respect the ending, okay? I respect it, and I won't take it personally, like what they said and stuff, but there's no doubt about it that the ending left a lot of people confused about, where the series would be heading from there. And yeah, I respect it if you have a different opinion. Don't worry about it, because I don't care. Like, some people might actually like the ending because it's really refreshing and different. Some people might feel the same way I do. I don't mind. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel so that you can see more videos like this. Thanks.